thank you for joining me today with Stephanie McKinney, the CEO of the VC firm River, and Nicole DeMeo, a limited partner and advisor for How Women Invest. She's also the founder of Outfront Solutions to discuss how to position your business for investment. These are two powerhouse women with incredible expertise, and I can't wait for them to share their knowledge, their experience, and their expertise with all of you. And I'm Linda Fisk. I'm the CEO of Leadership Global, and I am absolutely thrilled to welcome you to the program today. Leadership Global is the most impactful community of extraordinary women in the world. We unleash the full potential of high-performing and growth-oriented leaders in a confidential, supportive, and private community. Leadership Global helps members accelerate their success by defining their vision, growing their leadership, expanding their influence, and leaving a lasting legacy. So if you're interested about learning more about this remarkable community of women leading in business, entertainment, and politics, then please reach out. It would be my pleasure to have a conversation with each and every one of you. Now, for our program, did you know that only 2% of companies founded and led by women actually get venture backing? Though 40% of companies were founded by women, they generate 26 greater return on investment than those founded by men. So today, you're going to learn how to present your business to investors from the other side of the deal table through the expertise of these two powerful women in venture capital. Access to capital can be a really big hurdle when starting, building, and scaling a business. It's the reason that 83% of new businesses rely on personal or family savings of the owner. Through the discussion today, you're going to gain exclusive insider tips from a female venture capitalist CEO and an investor and entrepreneur on how to present your business to potential investors and how to prepare for a pitch. Excuse me. So you are in for a treat. You'll have the opportunity to learn about how the assets that you have as a part of your firm are absolutely essential to be considered a competitive candidate for investment capital. You'll learn about the questions investors will ask and how to highlight the strengths of your business to earn the funding needed to grow and to scale your business. You'll be able to learn about what investors look for from the other side of the deal table. Now, first, let me tell you about the two experts. A little bit more about Stephanie McKinney and Nicole DeMeo. Nicole DeMeo is the founder of Outfront Solutions, helping companies raise money, and a founding limited partner and fund advisor for How Women Invest, a new venture firm focused on changing the 2%, get this, 2% of venture dollars that are going to female-founded and led startups. Having sat on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur and as an investor, Nicole is absolutely passionate about this topic and wants to share the different strategies and practical tips to help you fund your business. Nicole will share some ideas to help you discover more ways to access capital for your business. And Stephanie McKinney is the CEO of River VC. She is a noteworthy leader in the field of venture capital and angel investing, and she supports women founders who are innovative and driven. In fact, Stephanie is really revolutionizing the investing industry through her firm, River, an accredited investing company who has made significant investments in several different sectors of business, including fintech, medtech, food, wine, name it. Stephanie takes pride in providing the best support for every single founder that she meets. So with that, let's jump right in. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Stephanie, Nicole, could not be more excited about having you as part of our panel today. And to kick off the discussion, I'd really like to hear from both of you about what led you to have such passion around women's advancement and investing in female business owners.
Good morning, everyone, or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here and being in community. I think that's really important. And I just want to say that we're creating a safe environment to ask any question you may have. We consider this a conversation. So if you have questions along the way or want to add insights, we welcome that. And please get in touch and stay in touch with us to continue the conversation. But you asked why jump in and support and stand alongside of my sisters and brothers. I've raised a lot of money for a lot of men over the years and a long career in Silicon Valley. And I, along the way, just thought, this is really lopsided, and in this journey, in raising money for my own firms as well, I came across some really significant hurdles, and we can talk about those later. But I really wanted to dedicate my career to turning the tables. And so women also need to get involved in the investing side. So that's why I'm a limited partner, or LP, investing in funds. I'm running a fund. I'm an angel investor. I'm on all sides of the investing side of things, as well as I'm an entrepreneur. And so I wear a couple of different hats in how I look at things. And I had a health scare at the end of 2019. And I thought, if I get to move forward in this lifetime, what do I want to do that feels really meaningful and soul fulfilling? And that is stand alongside women as they go to seek investment, as they're raising, as they're growing their businesses or growing their personal brands, and as an investor to put capital to work as well. So here I am, and grateful to be here.
Nicole, thank you so much. You're such an inspiring leader, and has quickly become one of my very favorite people too. She's genuine, she's authentic, she's kind, she's loving, she's giving, all the good things. Now, Linda. Stephanie, let me ask you too, what's led you to have such passion around supporting women, advancing women, and being a part of their journey in finding funding?
Well, thank you, Nicole, for that beautiful story. And thank you, everyone who is participating. I hope you guys learn a lot. If you have more questions, definitely follow up with us. We would love to hear from you. So why did I create River? Well, in 2020, I was jobless. I had a family that I needed to support. And I read a book about angel investing, and I knew that I could do this. And I did it for the whole first year. I put the work in, I put the effort in, I committed to it. And then a couple months ago, I had a change of heart, and 95% of my meetings were with men. And that is why I got in touch with Linda for leadership on how I could connect with these women and get that 5%, get that 2% up. Because we are women, we have ideas, we have passion, we are driven. And I want to change that. So this year, year 2 for River is women investing, is how we're going to change that, and exactly how I can help you get your business ready to change that.
That is amazing. Thank you so much to both of you. And so let me ask the audience, can you add into chat if you are currently raising money or seeking investments for yourself or for your clients, or if you plan to in the future? So let us know. Are you currently raising money? Are you currently seeking investments, or do you plan to in the future? Please add that to the chat. We'd love to get to know how many of you are currently raising money or seeking investment, or if you plan to in the near future. We'll give you just a minute to jump on chat and let us know. Okay, so Trish is contemplating raising dollars in the future. Barbara's, let's see, now it's really coming in. Here we go. Lovely. Barbara's seeking investment for a new project. Gemmalyn plans to in the near future if she can launch her business. Lorianne, not at this time, but she's interested in becoming an angel investor. And then Nita, not for yourself, but hearing more for other business owners, they're seeking investment for growth. And then Meredith says plans to seek investors in the near future, maybe 2020. So Nita, you said that you are looking at investing. So let me ask that. Add to the chat if you are an investor or a potential investor. Please add to the chat if you're looking to be an investor or a potential investor into businesses, growing, thriving, scaling businesses?
Yeah, it's so important that we participate in this entire economic cycle. So I'd love to hear that some of you are interested in investing.
Yeah, so Lorianne says for the right opportunity, you're interested in that. Terry said unsure, looking for supportive communities to grow in. So Terry, you and I should chat about Leadership Global. And then Karen said planning to help with your daughter's father's company. That makes sense. Okay. Lovely. Okay. So let's dive in. Stephanie, let me direct this to you. As we've mentioned, access to capital can be a really big hurdle when you're starting, building, and scaling a business. So to kick us off, let's talk about when the time is right to seek investment. We've had lots of people just note that they're considering actually seeking investment at some stage of their business. So help us understand, what is the stage of the business life cycle that a business owner should actually seek capital? When is the time right?
Perfect. So a lot of you guys are planning, which is good because it's going to be a process. So you need to start now. You need to prepare your business or your friend's business on how to seek capital. So in the beginning, you probably have sweat equity, you're putting in all the work, you're working at home, or you're bootstrapping it by yourself or your family and friends. And then once you get past that and you can hold your business for 18 months, now to the future, then you need to start looking for outside income, outside capital. That is where you get into your pre-seed and your seed rounds, is when you start reaching out to maybe your family friend knows this one person that is an investor and you need to go reach out to him and pitch your idea, which means that you need to have your product ready. You need to have your competitors known. You need to make sure that you are well versed in what you're going into. You can't just come out there and say, I have this product, because someone else might have that. So you need to make sure that you know your competitors, you know your product, you know your product market fit, you have a social media presence, because that is how we're going to do our due diligence. Is we're going to look at your website. We're going to see how your LinkedIn page is rolling. We're going to see how many people you've talked to. Is your product known? Is it beginning or is it already out there? And then once you have that rolling, you start talking to angel investors or people that can put money towards your company. And with that, you need to make sure you have a good lawyer behind you as well, to make sure that these deals are concrete. You're just not rolling money through your capital, and making sure that you have a good team and making sure that you're presentable to all these angel investors. And then once you're there, then it starts rolling from your series to your crowdfunding. Crowdfunding just was released in March 16th, that anyone can now invest. You don't have to be accredited. Anyone can just pick up, go to WeFunder, and then just throw money at you. You need to make sure that your business is ready.
Yeah, that's so smart, Stephanie. Thank you so much. And Nicole, let me ask you, can you talk to us about the different kinds of capital investing? Stephanie mentioned seed funding and angel investing. So when is the time right to seek investment? And what are the stages of the life cycle that a business should seek capital at?
Yeah, I'm going to start by saying something a little controversial, and that is to this talk, and that is that don't raise money unless you really have to, because you have to consider the fact that you are entering into a very long-term relationship with this investor, and it is imperative that you are in alignment. Seeking an investor is not unlike being hired for or hiring others for a job. You have a couple of opportunities to meet them, and then bam, you're together, and you're, in a job situation, 8 hours a day, a lot of times more time than you're with your family. And so it's really imperative that you're super thoughtful about when you go into seek investment, if you need that. So there are, to your question, Linda, lots and lots of financial vehicles that people can consider. There are SBA loans That's not taking equity in your company, right? It's debt. There are incubators that you can be a part of. A lot of times they're not necessarily taking equity in your company, but they'll give you grants. There are grants. As Stephanie mentioned, there's crowdfunding. There are angel investors. So people, individuals, there are angel groups. There are venture capital funds. And then there's the whole world of raising with digital currencies. You can raise in an IPO, later stages, right? Private equity, mergers and acquisitions, strategic investment. I left out one other entity that invests, and that is family offices. So they're a real group that invests a lot of times in earlier stage companies where they have a great passion for what you're doing. One thing I love about female entrepreneurs is you all and we all so often bake impact and environmental and social good into your businesses. And so often angel investors, family offices, those folks really find significant alignment. And we do as well as a fund with how women invest. So those are kind of the number of different vehicles, right? Financial vehicles. And then in terms of stage and all of that fit, we're really looking to see that you have a team of subject matter experts. You've got SMEs on your team, you know the space, you understand it. So in addition to that, we're looking for, did you find a good product market fit? Do you understand the total addressable market, the serviceable addressable market, and the opportunity, the market serviceable opportunity within that market, right? So you're identifying that, you understand who your customers are, you understand who your major stakeholders are, and you're starting to accumulate some of your assets, which we'll talk about later, which are the contracts that Stephanie mentioned. You're accumulating your IP. Maybe you have some intellectual property that's protectable. You're pulling together all of those assets, and we'll talk about that more later as well.
I love that, Nicole. I love that you offered so many options for a business that's seeking capital. So let's stay with that for just a second. Let me start with you, Nicole. What are some of the different kinds of investments that are available for business owners as they correspond to the different stages of a life cycle? So you said IPOs for a later stage. Angel investing is usually associated with early stage. So can you sort of match up the kinds of funding that are available at the different stages of a company's life cycle?
Sure. And I think that's really important to note, because a lot of times you don't necessarily want to seek venture capital funding unless you're ready to 10x your growth, because venture capitalists are looking for that kind of growth. So let me go back to the earliest stages. In the earliest stages of your business, you're looking for a lot of times just getting into maybe a loan to patch you through in terms of capital. You're looking for an incubator. Incubators are great because they connect you in community. Join communities like Leadership Global. A lot of times you will find employees, potential investors, you name it, across your entire ecosystem. So incubators, early stage, angel investors are typically early stage. And angel investors can come in the form of friends and family. So this is usually providing seed capital. And even pre-seed, right? So it's an idea. They know you're an incredible, business person. And so they're willing to invest in you as a leader and or a small team that you might have. And then as you roll through, angel investors will also come in even up to the A round, all the way through seed, if they're super angels and if they have enough capital to deploy and invest and keep their position, their percentage of ownership of your company. A lot of times angels like to do that, or they take an exit when you're at your B round. So then, and the A round is when you start to talk to more so angel groups. Family offices also look at seed and earlier stage typically, but some family offices are large enough to go all the way to IPO. It's not typically until your A round that you're looking at venture capital money. You have revenue traction, you have that product market fit, you understand your market, and that capital is to start to scale the idea. And it's maybe taking it to new markets, or it's to just ramp up the team and blow out the model because you have successfully proven you have a solid business model. And then with B, C, D, along that continuum of the raise, typically it's institutional investors or venture capital that will come in then. They usually have that level of capital to deploy during those stages. And then, a lot of companies seek an IPO after a C, D round. If you've noticed in the news, a lot of the companies are staying private and going with venture capital for as long as they possibly can. And I also condone that because I've taken a few companies public, and it's brutal to be scrutinized by the public markets. So really think about each of these stages and also your leadership, because a lot of times what venture capital firms will want to do is come in and replace the leadership at the stage of the company as you grow.
That's right.
And
I such good points.
I didn't mention the digital currency side. I definitely have invested and used all of these vehicles. So if that's of interest, we can take that offline. But just wanted to raise those main groups where you can seek investment.
I love that, Nicole. Thank you. And thank you for sort of matching the stage of the business development with the capital available to them at those different stages. So Stephanie, let me bounce over to you and just ask, when you were creating River, and now that it is a really, I think, dynamic VC firm that is doing a lot of incredible investing and providing an opportunity for business owners to grow and scale their firms. What do you look for? Are you more of an angel investor, an early stage investor, or do you look at businesses that have already sort of advanced through the growth stage and now they're scaling?
Right, of course. So with River, I get pre-seed to series meetings all the time. And I listen to them all because everyone has a brilliant idea of how they want to revolutionize the world. But with that, you need to make sure, like Nicole stated, that your ducks are in a row, that you are where you are and you're looking for that partner that you can coexist with, because it's going to be a huge relationship. Like she stated, it's dating someone. So you need to know who you are before you jump in with someone as a partner. And with that, it depends on the relationship and on the product market fit, how you're doing, where you are in your status. Because there's 5, maybe 4 different types of investors that are in those vehicles that she stated. You're either looking to have a money relationship, you're looking to have, maybe you have the expertise and that's what they need from you. Maybe you have the network that they need to get their product out there. And maybe you have the time. Maybe you're that person that they can call at midnight and you want that relationship. So it really depends on who you are and what you're offering as to what River can offer for you.
That's so smart. Thank you. And I think it's important that both of you have pointed out how important the relationship is and the relationship fit. So thank you. Now let's talk about the business assets that are fundamental to attracting investment dollars. Nicole, I'm going to bounce over to you and ask, what are the fundamental business assets that are absolutely essential to be considered a competitive candidate for investment capital? What are investors looking for that are fundamental non-negotiables before they invest in a business?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add one more point to the previous point of that long-term relationship that you enter into with someone who might be investing in you. Do your research on them, okay? That's critical. You can find out what people care about as angel investors, as a venture fund. You can really target your pitch and your meeting and your understanding of them before entering the room, right? And you can look on LinkedIn, see what they've invested in before, see what boards they're on, see what their background and area of expertise is, right? I have a long career in marketing as a CMO and, and whatnot. I love MarTech, marketing technology. I'm a super nerd when it comes to that. Right? So do your research on these investors as individuals and in the funds. The funds communicate their investment thesis on their websites. And if they don't, and they should, and you can find that, and you can find that in Crunchbase. So just another word about that relationship, because I think that research is really important. What are the assets that investors are looking for when you come to us? We're looking, I mentioned that you need to be the subject matter experts, and that's absolutely an imperative, right? We also need to see your communication style, how you communicate with us in email, in a phone conversation, when we see you speak. That tells us a lot about you as a leader. And so we're looking for your communication style and frequency and whatnot. We're looking to make sure that you are tenacious, because being an entrepreneur requires you to wake up every day and fall in love with your business again and again and again, because you're going to face some rough days in between. And you have to be so in love with your business and what you're doing and what you're solving that you have the grit to wake up and do it over and over again over time. We can get more things like the due diligence and what we look for specifically with each business in a later conversation as well, if you want.
Love that, Nicole. I will tell you, I resonate so much with your comment about waking up every single day and falling back in love with your business. And that's really what it takes to be tenacious, to be dedicated. And for me, being the CEO of Leadership Global, it's women like you that keep me passionate. You and Stephanie and our other members of Leadership Global. It's being able to serve women like you that drives me every moment of every day. And I'm so thankful for that. So let me also ask you, Stephanie, I think that these fundamental business assets are just so important for business owners to really understand, to know that before they take that very first meeting with a potential VC firm, they need to have their ducks in a row, as we've talked about. So what are some of the fundamental business assets that are absolutely essential to be considered a competitive candidate for investment capital from your perspective, Stephanie?
Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, you do have to wake up every day and love what you do. Otherwise, you need to find something else that you're passionate about. And with that, I think that's essential, that tenacity that Nicole was talking about. If I can't see it through my Zoom conference and you don't want, I don't want to get up and just go hug you because you're so passionate about what you do, then maybe find a different one that you're passionate about. But I think that is a huge asset that a founder, a co-founder needs to have in a business. So like Nicole said, during those meetings, you need to do your research. You need the ones that stick out to me that I have noticed are the ones that, say, oh, you run Spartan races. I do, Tough Mudder. It's something that connects us personally, that I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And it no longer feels like a business relationship. It just feels like a relationship. I want to continue. So with River, I don't just want to be a financial check. I want to be your cheerleader. I want to be your supporter. I want to be your mom and tell you how to do things and how I can help. And if you need something, I want to be that strategic partner that you go to. If you have those noon meetings that you're just like, oh, I had the worst one, I want to take you out to lunch and make you feel better. I want to see you succeed, and I want to see your business succeed more than anything. If I can see that you're passionate and you're committed about this and you wake up every day and you're driven and dedicated. So that's what I believe is the huge asset that I look for in a relationship.
That's great. And what does, Stephanie, sticking with that for just a moment, what does a founder need to do to prepare for a pitch? Certainly financials are critical. You need to show some level of financial prosperity. So you need to show some level of financial growth. So what does a business owner need to consider when they're presenting their business to a potential investor, beyond passion and commitment to the business and beyond some sort of interpersonal chemistry and alignment? What does a founder really need to do to prepare for a pitch?
Right. So like every relationship, you need to know who you are. You need to know everything about your business, about your competitors, about how you are going to succeed in this sector. Why are you the one that I should put my money to back up? You need to make sure that tell me why you're going to be successful. Like we've already had Airbnb. If you're trying to do some kind of similar thing, why is this going to succeed? Why would I change from Airbnb to you? And then how committed you are. Like you said, passion, driven, tenacity, and then what your winning looks like. Are you going to IPO? Are you going to just hold it and open it up to other VCs? What is our money, our capital going to look like in the near future?
Okay, I like that. So, Stephanie, let me stick with you for just a second and ask, what are some of the questions that investors will ask in that first pitch? How can business owners highlight the strength of their business to earn the funding that they need to grow and scale their business? So what should a business owner expect in that first meeting? What are some of the questions that the investors will ask?
Right. Of course, we're going to ask, how are your financials? Can you support yourself for 18 months without raising anything? Why this market? What's your product market fit? How are you going to succeed? What are your competitors? Know what kind of market you're running into. How's your social media? Is your product out there? Are you already looking? Are you looking for something else? Know what kind of relationship you want from us. What are we looking to gain? Are we gaining a safe contract where we get a little bit of equity in your company? Are we doing a convertible note where we're just going to lend you money and then later down the road, we're going to get a % off of it? Know who you are, what kind of business you're running, what your competitors look like, as well as your burn rate, your product market fit, and why are you raising this round?
Okay, that's great. Stephanie, thank you so much for that insight. Nicole, let me ask you the same question. What are some of the questions that you think investors are likely ask in their first pitch? And how can business owners be prepared to highlight the strengths of their business to earn the funding needed to grow and scale their firm?
Yeah, wearing many hats and being on both sides of the table as an entrepreneur and an investor, I've seen it all. And I will say that, unfortunately, a lot of times women, and this is statistically proven, women are asked different questions than men. Men are often asked questions about opportunity. Women are often asked questions that they need to build a defense around. And so being ready and, being ready for that, I think is really important. I've sat alongside of male entrepreneurs and raised 77 million in a couple months. I've sat alongside of female entrepreneurs, and it took us 15 months to raise, 3 million and 150 different meetings. So, this is really, it's really important that when you walk into that pitch, you have done your research, you understand who you're talking to, that you're conveying your expertise, you understand the market problem, the market solution, you understand your customer and their persona inside and out. You understand how your brand will impact people across the brand ecosystem. That's investors, customers, employees, partners. You are communicating how and showing, demonstrating how trainable you are as well. You are listening. You're not just pitching 100% of the time. I see entrepreneurs do that all the time, and they don't ask the questions. Typically, you're sitting across the table from someone who has built a lot of businesses in the past. A lot of times, VCs and investors are operators as well. So it's a great thing to ask their thoughts and opinions, get that immediate feedback right in that meeting. Yeah, I think those are a lot of the tips.
I love that. And those are such great tips, although depressing statistics, but lovely insights. So thank you so much. And let me go back to this idea of business assets. What are some of the fundamental business assets that you've seen investors really dive into and ask about, where they really, lift up the hood and really dive into those particular fundamental business assets to determine whether or not the business owner has some of the fundamentals in place to be a competitive candidate for investment? Nicole?
Are you pointing that back to me?
Yeah.
Sure. Great. Happy to. Hey, I also want to just say, please do not be depressed, okay? Because there are a lot of people standing forward, a lot of women like myself who are looking to not just move the needle, we are looking to change the game. And I just wrote an article about this that ran in Crunchbase about women taking control of their economic power. And it's proven that more women investing only helps with funding more women. And when women are funded, we are 6 times more likely to hire more women. So this is a rally cry for all of us to get involved in whatever capacity you can. And I want to remind you that you can do it. Okay? I'm sitting here and I've pushed things in all kinds of different ways. Stephanie is a phenomenal example of, she just jumped in and she did it. So just a reminder, you can do it. Okay, back to assets. In terms of assets, sorry, you can tell I'm so.
No, keep it up. I love it.
Okay, what some of the assets that we're looking for? Do you have good contracts? Stephanie mentioned earlier, do you have a good attorney? You got to have a good attorney. A lot of attorneys are willing to take you on pro bono in the earlier stages of your business. Find those attorneys that really are knowledgeable about your industry, your process, and make sure you have good contracts in place. So some of the things that I'm describing here go in your data room or your due diligence pack, right? So when investors, even early stage investors, even angel investors, if they see that you have a due diligence folder, they're going to see you're a very serious entrepreneur. And so in that due diligence folder, you need all your legal contracts, not only term sheets and your articles of incorporation and all that type of stuff, but any sales contracts that you have, LOIs that you have, your marketing plan, go-to-market strategy, your IP, a white paper on how your process is or technology works. I mentioned sales the brand ecosystem, that you're understanding what your impact is across your different stakeholders. You want to make sure that your cap table is clean and you don't have too many small investors here and there that you're going to have to communicate with over the years and that are going to be making demands and whatnot. So just make sure that you have executive summaries, your deck is really solid and is in there. And one thing about your deck that I want to remind everyone about is use a technology like DocSend that makes people sign in before they review your pitch deck. Don't just send your pitch deck out to people, because they will share it. And you want to know who's been looking at your deck, when and how. And a product like DocSend, and there are others like it, will show that to them.
Yeah, really good tip. I love that. So I'm realizing we only have about 15 minutes left. So I'm going to ask one more question, then we'll open it up to others in the room so that, everyone has an opportunity to communicate and ask questions and provide insight from these two remarkable leaders, Stephanie and Nicole. So let me ask both of you, what is your very best advice for business owners that are actively seeking investment or considering the option to seek investment? And so, Nicole, let's start with you. What's your very best 2 or 3 pieces of advice for business owners who are currently actively seeking investment or plan to?
It's hard for me just to choose one, so I'm going to go with 3 quick ones. One is, I let the cat out of the bag earlier, fall in love with your business every single day. Secondly, find undeniable alignment with those potential investors. Just find that alignment, find those folks. You can do it. There are so many resources to help you find the right investors, and that's of critical importance, because that is a long-term relationship you're forging. And the third one is what I started with: try not to seek investment until you really need it, right? Build that business, get to your revenue, cash flow, and then when you're ready to scale, come back and seek that investment.
Yeah, so smart. Really good advice. Thank you so much, Nicole. Stephanie, what about you? What are the key pieces of advice that you would offer to business owners that are actively seeking investment or plan to in the near future?
I say get out there, get going. We need to change that 2%. That is so sad to hear that we have 2%. We need to get out there. We need to get our women supporting women. And look, me and Nicole, we're here. We're ready to support you and see that you're passionate about it. Get out there. Go. It doesn't matter if you're going to fail. Learn from it. Try again. Go. I think we need to get out there. For everyone who said that they're planning or looking at, just do it. Do it.
I love that. I love that fearlessness, Stephanie. That is just wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me today with Stephanie McKinney, the CEO of BC firm River. You guys have seen the power of Stephanie. She is a go-getter, and she is the CEO of the VC firm River. And if you're interested in learning more about River or you want to connect with Stephanie, be sure to look her up on LinkedIn. And Nicole DeMeo, she is an LP and advisor for How Women Invest. And she's also the founder of Outfront Solutions. And I could not be more thrilled to introduce you to these powerhouse women who have such deep expertise in this whole area of investing and supporting women business owners. And I am Linda Fisk, the CEO of Leadership Global. And again, if you're interested in learning more about our community of phenomenal women like Stephanie, like Nicole, then please don't hesitate to give me a ring. It would be my pleasure and my privilege to tell you more about the incredible women that are part of Leadership Global and how we can help you accelerate your success by defining your vision, growing your leadership, expanding your influence, and helping you leave your legacy. Again, thank you to these two powerhouse ladies and sharing their incredible expertise and really valuable insight. I'm just really, really thankful to both Nicole and Stephanie. Thank you, ladies.